Good morning, boys and girls, children of all ages. Please be responsible and legal in whatever territory you live in. This is Craig at Home with Craig, episode 2020. I want to name this episode Venti. Much like the Starbucks size of choice for most people, you have grande, you have venti, you have whatever. Venti means 20. It also apparently, as I found out today, it means windy. So maybe in a way I'm saying that I'm full of hot air and I'm a blowhard. I don't know. That's up for you to decide and determine. What's going on in the world? Lots of stuff. First thing I want to do is, not in honor of, but out of something that my friend Stacy said. She's the one I did the last podcast with. She made a joke about I should do a head count because I always tell her I'm doing something right because 10 or so of you come back every week. So let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, yeah. There's one in the back. Thank you. Welcome. I hope you like it here. I hope you stick around for a while. There's a swag bag up front. Make sure you get it on your way out. Secondly, I really enjoyed doing the podcast with Stacy. I hope you guys did too. We got quite a bit of listening from it. I put snippets of it on Instagram. I created an Instagram account. So it's the same as here. Just add a 1. It's at home with Craig 1 on Instagram. There's another at home with Craig. I don't know who he is. No relation, no connection that I know of. He's just somebody got the name before I did. Same thing. There's a Gmail account somebody got before I did. Or maybe it's me and I forgot it and I can't remember what the sign in is. Anything is possible. The way my brain works, And this is weird because I'm reversed on the camera. I don't know why. This is my first time using Streamlabs. I tried using OBS last week and it recorded half of the conversation, like 8 minutes out of 20 or something, or 15 out of 25. I don't know what was wrong with it. It worked fine the time before that. Who knows? So we're trying out Streamlabs. No affiliation yet. So I make no money from this. I'm just mentioning if you're looking for a way to record yourself on camera, this seems pretty straightforward. And if you've used OBS, the design and the layout is pretty much similar. So I've got to learn all the bells and whistles, and I will do that as time goes by, unless OBS decides to magically start working. And then this will all be moot. Not mute, moot. Okay? Let's not confuse those two. Let's dive right in. Well, dive right in after I've done my spiel. And yes, I know. And this will make Stacy laugh. I promised to be back sooner, and I wasn't. This is me, the late podcaster. This is just how it is. I try and I'll write things on my calendar. And I'll say, I got to do it. I'm going to do it. Yes, definitely, for sure. Absolutely, 1,000,000%. I will do it this week, and then I don't. Life gets in the way, or I don't think I have anything to talk about. So I'm just like, why bother? I know consistency is key, and I should do better. And eventually I will do better. I will have somebody hold me responsible or something, like a gun to my head. All right, do the podcast. Come on. All right, there we go. This week, my brother pointed out to me or questioned me about something that happened in Virginia on a ship. It was the George Washington. It's an aircraft carrier. Big ship. There's been a rash, for lack of a better word, of suicides, 5 within a few days of one another. And I'm sure it has a lot to do with how the command is. It has to do with how working conditions are in the Navy now. It has to do with, I don't want to say with this generation, but ultimately every generation has their own strengths and weaknesses. My time in the Navy, things weren't any better than they are now. I'm sure in some ways they were probably worse. Technology and advances being what they are, we had to do things harder or in a different way. But it sucks. It absolutely sucks that people were brought to the point of having to do this because they saw no way out. Now, I've only read like 1 or 2 articles, and I'll post some links in the show notes when I'm done. But from what I've read from these is they've reached out, or they had reached out to people above them, whether it was their leading petty officer or their chief or their division officer or whoever. They reached out to these people and they said, hey, I'm having a hard time. And basically they were told, go back to work, which is never the right answer. I don't care how tough you want to be. I don't care what stigmas are attached. I don't care about any of that, because when it boils down to, or what it boils down to, is it's all BS. If someone is struggling, someone's having a hard time, you help them. If you can't help them, find someone who can. It's not in any way the same, but I had an alcohol problem. I drank like a fish. I don't know what that means, but I drank a lot. And I always said, if it affected my work, I would go get help. And one morning, well, after a night of drinking, two of my friends and I were kind of hungover and asleep. And my boss, my LPO, Steve Wilkie, may he rest in peace. He passed away recently. Love you, Steve. Miss you. Hope everything's going well for you up there. He called me and said, so, Iggy, coming to work today? I'm like, yeah, we're on our way now. So picture, if you will, 3 hungover sailors trying to put on uniforms and get out the door, get to the base, running down the pier in full uniform with those stupid shiny shoes on, getting onto the ship and into the gymnasium kind of place for the assembly muster. We were sweating, we were panting, we were dying. Oh my goodness. And I knew that I never ever want to feel that feeling again. So, well, I did. Unfortunately, many years later, I felt that feeling again. But when it was, we passed and everything was good. I don't remember if that's when I got my good conductor medal. How ironic is that? But I went and talked to him. I pulled him aside. I said, I got to talk to you, Steve. I've got a problem. I don't know what to do about it. And I told him, I said, look, I think I have an alcohol problem. I think I'm an alcoholic. These are my issues, whatever. And we talked about it for a good long while. And he said, well, what do you want to do? You have 2 choices. One, we can go through the command and you can get alcoholic counseling from some Navy counselor somewhere. But it will go in your service record and it will follow you everywhere that you had this issue. Now, I don't know if that would have affected any promotions or anything, and it turns out that it didn't matter because I got out within a year of that anyway. He said, or you could do it on your own. We can find some AA meetings for you, and you can do that. And I did that. I did my 30 days. I got my 30-day chip. I got my 60-day chip. I think I got my 90-day chip. The problem I had was I was surrounded by people that were talking about drinking. And the last thing I needed was more people talking about drinking, because that was never going to be a good thing for me. So eventually I got over it and I was better on my own. There was a relapse or 2 along the way. But the point is, I went to somebody in a place of authority that could help me, and he helped me. And that's what any young sailor or any service member, now I don't want to exclude the other branches, because I'm sure these problems are rampant throughout the service now, because no one gives a damn anymore. It's numbers. It's a machine. Just push them through the machine, get the product out on the other end, and to hell with the circumstances. So I recently read that they're moving the sailors off the ship because they're in dry dock. So berthing is not complete, and it's loud, and it's noisy, and it's dirty, and it's all these things that are not conducive to a good mental state. You have people that spent years in school training to do a job, and now they're not doing that job. They're sitting on a bucket, upside down bucket, watching people weld with a fire extinguisher. They're the fire watch. And that's all they do. And they may do that 8-10 hours a day, or they're cleaning all day. And yeah, it sucks. And we all had to do it. We all mopped floors, and we all cleaned toilets, and we all did all the nasty scut work that you wouldn't wish on your worst enemy. Because let me tell you, sailors are some nasty people in the bathroom. So, I get it. It sucks. You got to suck it up and do it. But there's got to be an outlet. There's got to be an escape. You have to be able to get off the ship and go somewhere. You can't live on the ship 24/7, especially in port. If you're out at sea, it's different. I was on a sub, so we never got port calls. But I know a lot of surface sailors that went to like all these ports, like Scotland, and some went to Hawaii, some went to Australia. They went all over the place. I was not one of those fortunate people. So I'm glad that higher ups have gotten involved. I hope something comes of it. I hope they all get the help they need. And I hope that they put systems and procedures in place so that this never ever happens again to anyone else, because it shouldn't. You shouldn't join the Navy and be so beat down and so beat up and so fed up that you just say the hell with it and you take your life. That's not a solution. It's not a good solution. I get it. I understand. And I've never admitted this before, but I'm all about transparency. So without any great details, I've been at that doorstep where I had to decide, do I want to keep going or do I want to just end it all? And fortunately, I've gone on to do not a lot of great things, nothing monumental, but I've done good things in my life. So I'm glad that I stuck around, and I'm glad that God had a plan for me. I think God has a plan for all of us if we just shut up and listen once in a while and do his will and not what we think we should do. All right. Sorry, that's as preachy as I'm going to get. I'll get off my soapbox now. So if you know a service member or you're friends with somebody who's a friend of a service member, reach out to them. Tell them, hey, I think you're doing a great job. If they need to talk, you don't need to be an expert. You don't need to have a psychology or a psychiatry degree or any of that stuff. You don't have to be an expert at all. You just have to be able to listen and let them know that they're being heard. I think at the end of the day, ultimately, all that we really want in this world is to be loved, have food, water, etc., shelter. But I think we want to be heard. I think we want to be acknowledged. I think we want people to know, or we want to know that people hear us. So if you can listen, let me back that up. Even if they're not military, if you know somebody that's struggling, or you think they might be struggling, or whatever, then by all means talk to them. Reach out to them. Say, I'm here for you. Don't force the issue. Don't push it. But just let them know that you're there. That you're there and you're listening to them. And I think that's something that you need to do. This is my 2 cents, as always, do as you will. But I think that if we're all a little bit nicer to one another and we're all a little bit gentler, because honestly, walking down the street, you may pass 25 people and you have no idea, unless you know them, you have no idea what these strangers are going through, what's in their life, what's going on. They may not smile. And please don't tell them, oh, you should smile more, because that doesn't help. Obviously, they're suffering. There's something going on that's causing them to not smile. They just don't feel like it. There are days when I'm just like, leave me alone, bah humbug. I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to know you. I don't want anything. I just want to leave me alone. Give me my 5 minutes of solitude. Give me a nice cup of tea. By the way, I know it's past, but it was a Hanukkah gift, so I'm going to use it. Green tea. I think this one's by Bigelow. Hold that thought. Much better. Green tea, a little honey, a little lemon. Perfect. I know the inevitable has happened. The forces of good and evil have shifted, and I am no longer really drinking coffee. I didn't think it would ever happen. I've switched to tea, mostly. I'm not saying if the opportunity presented itself that I would not have a cup of coffee, but I'm no longer really making it at home. I've got the stuff. Tea is better for me. Well, I think this is better for me. It seems to be. It seems to be helping me. My gut is not as upset as it normally would be. So there's that. I like that aspect of it. What else? I'm going to try the loose leaf stuff. There's a tea shop in Downey not too far away. So they've got like all the stuff that looks like dried herbs and grass. And I used to tease my father about when he drank his chamomile tea, we called lawn clippings, because that's what it looked like. It looked like somebody went out and cut the lawn with scissors and threw it in a tea bag and said, here you go. We'll call it chamomile, because that sounds fancy. So I used to make fun of tea drinkers. Not anymore. My apologies. Mea culpa. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have done it without knowing things. And that's another thing that goes back to what I said previously about, don't judge people. Don't mock things that you don't like, or don't whatever. Let people be people. And if she's listening, my friend Marie in Texas, I owe her a big apology. We've been friends for a long time, and I was a jerk to her, and I didn't realize it till way after the fact. And that was part of what spurred my growth, or my growth spurt spiritually and mentally and whatnot. She would post things about how she was having some kind of seafood for dinner or whatever it was. And me thinking I'm being funny, instead of saying, oh, that sounds cool, I would type things like ick or gross or whatever. And she finally brought me back to reality and let me know that I was being a jerk. So this is my official public apology to you, Marie. We've been friends a long time, and I don't want anything to ever affect that. I'm glad we're still friends. So this is me saying I'm sorry for being a jerk. Whether I realized it or not, I was still a jerk. So there you go. I'm sorry, and I am trying to be a better person. Every day I try to be a better person. I am now the king of backspacing. You know how you'll see something online, you think, oh my goodness, this is so stupid, or how could they be so clueless, or whatever it is, and I'll just type. And then I'm about to hit send, and this little voice came into my ear and said, what are you doing? You shouldn't do that. Are you sure you want to hit that send button? And I backspaced. I think the most I backspace is like a paragraph or two. I just backspace it all because I figured that whatever I was saying was not going to add to the conversation. It was going to be controversial. Now, there's a right way to do that where you can be polite about it. You can be respectful about it. You can come at it from, all right, I see your point. See, that's part of that listening thing and hearing them. You can say, I see your point. You can repeat back what they said. I see why you say this, or I kind of understand why you say this. This is what I think. I have a different opinion. This is why I think my opinion is right or wrong. Or you don't even have to do that because that's a little bit condescending too, because opinions are unique to each person. How you feel may not necessarily be how someone else feels. So come at it from a point of respect. And I want to be nice to you. I want to understand your point of view. I want to have an actual conversation rather than one person yelling at the other or both people yelling. Stop the yelling. Listen for a minute and realize that maybe what they're saying is not that bad and you were triggered for another reason. I hate that word triggered. Sometimes it fits. Sometimes it doesn't. Please use it appropriately. So I'm the king of backspacing, and I'm trying to live my life more transparently. There's a lot of things going on in the background that most of you don't know. Most of you will never know. If you're in my life, if you're my friend, then you know my situation. It's not something I'm ready to talk about yet, but things happened. I've tried to move on with my life. Not that I've forgotten the previous life. Obviously, I can't do that because it was such a big part of my life that I can't just sweep it under the rug and forget about it. So that out of sight, out of mind stuff doesn't apply here because it's still part of my everyday. I'm trying to move on. I'm trying to do better. I'm trying to be a better person than what led to the circumstances of my big life upheaval. And it's a process. And it's something that I pray to him about every day, not just like the prayers that my grandmother taught me, saying the Our Father and the Hail Mary before bed. I still do that. Now I've learned to say it in Hebrew because it feels better to me and it's a stronger connection to what I believe to be my Jewish roots. I'm not 100% sure, but there has been signs and hints and clues that maybe someone somewhere in my family back in Poland or Russia or even further back maybe was Jewish. So I've always had a calling or like something drawing me that way. So I say the prayer in Hebrew and I talk to God about other things. I'm not always formal. I'm not always informal, but I believe that you can talk to God like he's your friend because he is. Ultimately, he's the best friend you're ever going to have. His son is also the best friend you're ever going to have. That whole 3-in-1 thing. Father, Son, Holy Spirit. I believe that he sends his spirit to help us. And there are times when, I don't remember the exact verse. I'll look it up and I'll put it in the show notes if I remember. But there's a verse that talks about even when you don't have the words, you'll have something on your mind or in your heart that you want to talk to God about or ask God about or plead with him about, and the words won't come. Rather than being frustrated, just know in your heart and in your mind that he sends his spirit to communicate with our spirit. So even through grumblings and groanings and whatever, I don't want to say odd noises, but do things like that where there are no words or you don't know the words, he still is able to touch on whatever's going on in your life through his spirit. That's what it's there for. I highly recommend you avail yourself to it. I've said it before, if you're not familiar with it, pick up the Bible, read it cover to cover. You don't have to understand it. There are Bible scholars that have been studying the Bible for like 50 or 60 years. This has been going on since it came out, and they're still trying to understand it. So read it, understand what you can, research the things that you don't understand. Like, I've often stopped my reading to go Google something, or I'll Google it from my phone. I'll highlight a word and say, what does this mean? And I'll say, okay, now this makes more sense to me. The rest of the chapter or the book as a whole makes more sense to me. So I highly encourage you. It doesn't matter if it's NIV or English Standard Version or King James. I know there are churches out there that King James or nothing, and I kind of see their point, but I think that's a disservice that they are forcing their members to read a specific version of the Bible. I think they're all basically the same. My personal favorite is the NIV. I started with King James. I was gifted a King James when I attended First Baptist of Broken Arrow. Someone said, here's a Bible. And I had never read it before because growing up as a Catholic, it was never, I want to say, and maybe I'm misremembering, but it was never encouraged that we actually read the Bible, just following what the priest says and take it at face value. But my brain said, we need to know more. So I read it. I read it every night, cover to cover. I would read like entire books at a time, entire chapters and whatever at a time. And I read it all the way through. And then I read it again, and I read it again. And then I started with the Our Daily Bread, where they have a daily Bible study thing and devotion. And it takes you a day at a time through the Bible, and you finish it in a year. I've lost track of how many times I've done that, 20 or 30, I don't know. Maybe not that much, but I've done it a lot. I've read the Bible cover to cover over and over again. And there are always times when I can open it up to any chapter or any part of the Bible and find a verse that somehow relates to what's going on in my life, whether it's about love or money or, yes, even business. There's things in there that will teach you how to run your business better in a more spiritual and godly way. So I don't think there's anything in there mostly, maybe technology's not in there, but overall general life things you'll find somewhere in the Bible. So pick it up, read it, check it out. If you have questions, hit me up somewhere. Eventually I will have an email list up so we can converse. What else is going on? Real quickly, I want to wrap this up. I started an affiliate marketing 15-day challenge. I found a lot of the ads on Facebook and Instagram and wherever, and finally I said, all right, I'll try it. It was a few bucks to sign up. I've learned quite a bit. I'll probably learn more. And I plan on starting my affiliate marketing journey. Now, there's a difference between affiliate marketing and being an affiliate. An affiliate, anybody can do. If you go to Google and search whatever your hobby is or whatever your interest is, say you want to be into golf, you type in golf club affiliate or golf affiliate, and there'll be a laundry list of websites that will pay you to go out there and digitally hawk, or what's the word? Like a barker from a circus or a fair or something like that, or a carnival, one of those people that's out there trying to promote whatever. So you promote the link, and if someone buys something from the link or reads something or whatever the conditions are, and they all vary, so do your homework and do your own due diligence. Find one you like and promote the hell out of it, and hopefully you'll get lucky. Or the other side of that is affiliate marketing, where it's the same basic thing. You have a link, but it's the way you go about it. It's the way you do your copywriting. It's the way you set your hook in a video to get people to, if it's a 30-second video, you've got like 5 or 10 seconds, if that, to catch their attention. Otherwise, they're scrolling through TikTok onto the next video. So come up with a hook, something crazy, something unusual, whatever, pop onto the screen, say, hey, hold up, whatever. I don't know if that works or not. If it works, send me a commission. So you can do that, but it's all about how to market it, how to do the copywriting, how to do all the things. So that's what I'm going to do. It's Legendary Marketer So I'm going to check it out. And if it works out well, or maybe even doesn't work out, I'll still come back and report to you where I started, where I am and how it's going. So I think that's about it for me. One final thing, by the time this airs, well, within a couple of days of this airing, two things. One, yesterday was my mother's birthday, so happy birthday, Mom. I hope a million people hear this and wish you a happy birthday next year. And the other thing is my son graduates from college this week. I am very proud of him. Proud doesn't even begin to cover it. And even though I can't attend his graduation for various reasons that I will never, ever go into. Again, if you know, you know. If you don't, sorry about your luck. I'm not going to tell you. But he did college during the pandemic, so he did an impossible thing at an impossible time under impossible conditions. And I've never been more proud of a kid in my life. Well, I'm proud of my other child too. They're pretty awesome on their own. They've done a lot of awesome things in their life. So if they hear this, I don't want them to think that I don't love them, because I do, and I'm just as proud of you for everything you do in your life. So congratulations to the graduating class of 2022. No matter what school they attended, you guys are awesome. You guys rock. I wish you nothing but the biggest, hugest, largest, whatever word you want to put in there, amount of success in the world. And I hope you do amazing things, and I hope you turn the world on its ear with how awesome you are. So that's going to do it for this episode. Hopefully, I know. Hopefully I'll be back next week for 21. I'll have to come up with a catchy title for that, because Venti plus 1 doesn't really work. So I'll think of something. I'll put some show notes down below. If you're on a website or a podcast service that allows you to do feedback, please do. Drop me a line. Tell me you love it, you hate it, whatever. I think you're great. I think you suck. I don't care. I'll take them all. It's a chance to engage with you. So, as always, this is just my 2 cents worth. Your mileage may vary. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got something out of it. And if you like it, pass it on. If you don't like it, tell me. I love you, and God bless.